In this video, in the Universe Sandbox simulator, I'll send 7 rogue planets into the solar system at once. These are WISE, PSO, SIMP, OTS, CFBDSIR, CHA, and OGLE. Let's see what kind of chaos they'll cause, and what will be left of the solar system after their invasion. I've prepared the first simulation. From this side, I've launched 7 rogue planets into the solar system. These rogue planets weren't in the simulator, so I had to create them manually. This is how I made WISE. And this right here is SIP. I set the mass and radius for these objects according to data from the English Wikipedia, so everything should be fine in that regard. This is how PSO turned out. This is how I made OTS-44. This is how OGLE turned out for here. This is how I made CHA. And this is CFBDSI. The simulation is running. We see that the rogue planets have started their movement toward the solar system. Yeah, I placed them quite close to each other. And here, of course, their gravity starts to interact with each other. Well, it looks like WISE will be the first to enter the Kuiper Belt. It really pulled ahead like that. Here we see 4 rogue planets, even 5 in the Kuiper Belt, already crossing Neptune's orbit, and it turns out OGLE and SIMP will be the first to approach the Sun. By the way, let's see what they'll do to the Sun now. Well, OGLE has made its orbit, SIMP is also roughly at Jupiter's orbit, and a few more objects have made their orbit. And look at how they've affected the Sun. The Sun just moved from its spot, like really seriously. Having made their orbit, these rogue planets are flying away for now, but we still have these 2 objects approaching. Well, as we can see, they'll fly quite far from the Sun, but they could still knock the orbits of the outer planets out of whack. Also guys, I'll say that among all these rogue planets, our most massive object is SIMP, and the largest is OTS. And what's the final result? OTS-44 is flying away from the system, and SIMP along with PSO are also flying away, rotating around each other in a pair like that. WISE, as we see, is also leaving the system, and OGLE's flying away. Well, as we see, this object CFBDSIR stayed, and it'll be returning back toward the Sun. That is, the Sun kept it in the solar system, meaning it captured it. Now that CHA is flying away, just 1 rogue planet will remain in the solar system. Well, I've sped up time. Look at how the Sun is moving. It's like it started moving at an enormous speed. That's how these rogue planets affected our star. And because of this, Sedna, by the way, is leaving the solar system. The Sun's gravity can no longer hold on to it. This object has made several orbits around the Sun. Let's see what happened to the solar system in the end. We see that, basically, Jupiter didn't change its orbit much. The inner planets of the solar system also didn't really change their orbits. There is, of course, an effect on Saturn's orbit. It's become more elliptical than before. And by the way, this object is approaching Saturn, and you just saw how Saturn's orbit changed a little bit more. Uranus and Neptune also got a slightly more elongated eccentricity, and the Kuiper Belt looks something like this. Let's see what's going on with Earth. And here you can see from space what's happening to Africa. It looks like a lot of areas have been flooded. I'll hide the atmosphere and clouds, and we'll see that a lot of land on Earth is actually flooded. Virtually all the continents have suffered greatly. What a flood on Earth. This is crazy. I don't know what caused it. Maybe the rogue planets got too close, and their gravity caused massive tsunamis that just washed over many continents. Over time, maybe things will stabilize, but for now, this is the situation. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. The average temperature on our planet has even gone up a bit, and the likelihood of life has decreased by about 10%. I'm looking at the sea level mark, and it hasn't actually increased here. So in reality, it's most likely tsunamis that flooded the land on Earth. In the second simulation, I'll launch the rogue planets at greater distances from each other, so they all head toward the Sun without being affected by each other's gravity. The simulation's ready. Here you can see all these rogue planets just surrounding the solar system. Starting the simulation, the rogue planets are slowly starting to enter the solar system, right into the Kuiper Belt. No major changes visible yet, but I wonder what's happening with the Sun. And the Sun has already started to move. It's feeling the gravity of the rogue planets. Meanwhile, all the rogue planets are already in the Kuiper Belt. And you see, I launched them at great distances, so they're no longer interacting with each other, and everything is heading straight for the center of the solar system. I wonder what these objects are going to do now. At the very least, what will happen to Earth? It'll be interesting to see. SIMP and PSO are the first to enter the asteroid belt. The Sun is already moving incredibly fast. You can see a trail behind it. And PSO is the first to approach the Sun. PSO got very close to the Sun and heated up instantly. And next comes the most massive of these rogue planets, SIMP. Is SIMP gonna crash into the Sun? It really is, guys. SIMP is gonna hit the sign. What an outcome! And here you see the Sun absorbing the rogue planet SIMP. And it wasn't wasn't easy for the sun either. The sun's temperature is 630,000 degrees Celsius. Incredible! The mass dropped and the sun's radius decreased, and we see these particles flying off it after the collision. So SIMP basically sacrificed itself, I guess. Meanwhile, WISE and OTS-44 are approaching. By the way, I see Earth's orbit has already changed. See, for a moment it gets very close to Venus, and WISE won't collide with the sun. It'll pass very close to it. Now, what will OTS do? OTS, again, is the largest of these rogue planets, and will it collide with the sun?
It will.
The camera didn't catch it, but it's as if OTS didn't even touch the star, but broke apart before reaching it. And we see a lot of these particles around the sun. Maybe there was an impact after all, because you see, it's like a wave is passing through the sun. Next is the rocky rogue planet Ogle, the smallest of all the ones I launched today. And it'll pass at a safe distance from the sun and won't really be affected, it'll just fly away. Next, CFBDSIR flies further along. It'll get closer to the sun, but won't be swallowed by it. After making a turn, it'll fly back or stay in the solar system. By the way, let's see what stays and what flies away. Now, Object Cha is flying, and it also made a turn, getting very close to the sun. PSO is apparently leaving the system, Ogos is leaving, Cha is leaving, CFBDSIR is also leaving, WISE is leaving, but S and SIMP unfortunately collided with the star. But of course, the sun took a serious hit. Look at the high speed at which it's moving through the space of the cosmos. Well, because of this, the orbits of the solar system's planets will certainly suffer. Mercury doesn't seem to have changed its orbit, but Venus changed its orbit and became more elliptical. And Earth's orbit, by the way, didn't change that seriously. Yes, it became a bit more elliptical, but not that critically. Mars seems not to have changed its orbit at all, and Jupiter, it seems to me, began to rotate closer to the sun, or maybe it pulled asteroids toward itself because its orbit comes very close to the asteroid belt. Saturn and Uranus also changed their orbits to more elliptical ones, but not very critically elliptical. But Neptune suffered seriously. It now has a really seriously elliptical, elongated orbit, and the orbits of the dwarf planets are all mixed up here, and some even come close to Uranus's orbit. Wow! In the end, after the rogue planet invasion, the sun lost 3% of its mass, even though it swallowed 2 rogue planets. The radius also decreased by as much as 5%. The sun's temperature even rose by about 100 degrees Celsius, while luminosity dropped by as much as 10%. That's quite serious. I think the planets got colder because of this. I've turned on the habitable zone, and what do we see? That Earth is basically on the border of the red and green zones. Venus is sort of in the red zone, Mercury is also in the red zone. I see. Mars is on the edge of the green zone, as if the green zone hasn't changed here. Perhaps the planets have started rotating closer to the star. Well, anyway, let's look at each planet, and we'll start with Mercury. It has an average temperature of 186 degrees, so it's as if nothing has changed here at all. But on Venus, I see changes. The temperature has dropped, and the average temperature is now 408 degrees. And here, the distance is shown as 0.80 astronomical units. So Venus is actually moved further away from the star. And here we see Earth. Earth is just as flooded as in the first experiment in this video. Let's take a closer look. We also see flooded continents everywhere. Everything here is flooded too. But in the northern hemisphere, there's little ice left, and in Antarctica, we see virtually no ice left. Well, by the way, maybe Earth was flooded because the glaciers melted. Well, it's like there's just too much water here. I thought the temperature on Earth had risen, but no, these are normal, reasonable values. But I see the water vapor concentration in the atmosphere has increased to almost 14%. Well, the sea level has risen by about 200 meters, and the probability of life stays at 91%. And the distance, guys, has changed, and now it's 0.92 astronomical units to the sun. So Earth actually got closer to the sun, but because the sun lost luminosity, Earth didn't warm up as much as it could have. And a year on Earth is now 343 days instead of 365. And here you see Mars. It looks like its appearance has changed, or maybe it's just me. There are some interesting areas here. While the simulator shows that the atmosphere on Mars has become even thinner, and the average temperature is minus 107 degrees Celsius, which is even colder than before. And one more thing, we see that Sedna is leaving the solar system. So what can we say, guys? These rogue planets really disrupted the harmony in the solar system a bit, but they didn't do anything too critical here. In principle, I think everything will stabilize over time. I hope. Anyway, if you like this video, be sure to give it a like and leave a detailed comment. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you very much.